Yo, what up, people? Smith some motherfucking R here today, of course, to give you guys Uchouten Kazoku episode 1111 motherfucking review. Now then, this episode, of course, rain might be in the background. I don't fucking know, and it might be really bright. I don't fucking know. I mean, it's weird, but anyway, Smith some motherfucking R. Anyway, this episode of course, Uchouten Kazoku was actually pretty interesting, and I found out that it's going to 13, which mostly means something actually pretty interesting. This isn't going to be the last episode. It's going to go to 13, and so we got another episode after this before, again, another episode to the last episode. So fuck it. And you see, I'm actually digging this episode because it's setting stuff up, but it's not setting up the last episode. So we can believe that the last episode won't be some, retarded, dumb stuff. Really, really dumb. It won't be no stupid ending, most likely. It might actually draw out so that the last episode has to do with the story and it isn't some type of filler last episode, yeah, let's all go to the beach, so we can look forward to that. And you see, this episode mainly focused on, of course, one thing: the fucking uncle. Oh my god, bro, this dude is evil, bro. This dude is mad evil. He's he's caging up his own fucking kind, and he has his sons doing the same shit. Legit. Last week's episode, of course, he was surrounded by the dudes, but he got saved this episode by Ben 10, who basically used the excuse of I need an umbrella in order to get him out of there. And she might have done it, but I have a feeling that she knew what she was doing, but who knows, She could just be that self-centered. And the thing is, basically, she gives Yashiro the locations to where the Friday Fellows is, and he realizes exactly what's about to happen. His older brother's about to get eaten. And he knows that, of course, the professor from the old episodes back when he had to perform for, of course, the Friday Fellows, that professor dude. Oh my god, his name starts with a Y, Professor Y. I'm going to call him Professor Y. Anyway, Professor Y, his basic job is to grab the ingredients, of course, which is the Tanku, or the fucking raccoon dog, yeah. Fucking raccoon dog is a lot easier to say, so he has to grab the raccoon dog. And the uncle's job, of course, was going to be to provide him with the raccoon dog, and that's what he did. He captured everybody. Genkaku and Shinkaku were able to lure Yashibro by posing or transforming into Professor Y right after he got done meeting with Ben 10, and she drove off in the fucking car. Professor Y was walked into this fucking shop, and it turns out that this shop was, of course, it was Shinkaku, and Genkaku was, of course, the one who transformed in the professor. And then the professor left, or Kinkaku left, and then he came out as an attendant, and he basically poisoned his food, his egg rice shit. Anyway, so that's poison, so now he can't transform anymore, and now he's in a cage, and he needs somebody to save him. And of course, last week's episode, we know exactly where everybody is. We know where the little boy is, the youngest of those sons, and the thing is, he's basically stuck in that factory until, of course, Genkaku and Shinkaku, Genkaku calls his sister, let her know what's going on. She basically hates these motherfuckers for what they're doing. She's like, fuck you guys, I hate you, I'm going. Not some South Park shit, but anyway. And then the thing was that basically she broke out the youngest, and then she sent him over the wall while they were being surrounded, and she was going to hold these guys off so that the youngest could go get help and save Yashibro in order to save their oldest brother and also their mom, because she was also captured. And the uncle did do one thing sort of right, but not really. He did say, no, this raccoon dog isn't for sale. I'm not trading this one. He's only going to trade the oldest son. He isn't going to actually trade their mom, because that would be kind of fucked up. That really would. But he said that, but he also is using it as leverage, so if he gets away, he'll just send the mom down the river, so to speak. And that's really sad. And so basically their only hope right now is the second oldest, the frog in the well. If he does not get out that well and help, then the oldest will be killed. That is a fact. Uncle will reign supreme over the Raccoon Dog Society, and shit will be fucked up. And of course, Yashibro, I mean, if he doesn't get saved, then something did actually piss me off with Yashibro, though. Well, it wasn't really Yashibro, what Ben 10 said. She said, don't go rushing in there, fist ablaze and shit like that. With your fist out, you know, like beating the shit out of people. When has Yashiro ever been angry? He doesn't get angry, bro. He doesn't. So that I don't get why Ben 10 said that. Maybe she was just joking at him because she knew that he would never do anything like that. But I don't know, because let's be honest, Yashiro, come on, bro. He can't even transform in a fight, motherfuckers. Like legit. He makes all these like threats of like biting niggas' asses up and like turning into like 16 cheeks, and I'm like, what the fuck? This dude's weird, but fuck it. He don't do shit. He doesn't. I don't get why, but I mean, I'd like to see him transform some crazy ass shit. And so basically, the mom's being held captive. Professor Y now has the oldest. The youngest is out to go get help or to rescue Yashiro, the third oldest, or second youngest, however you want to put it. Or the youngest could be going to the second oldest, who's in the well, the frog, and get his help, being like, Mom's captured, everybody's about to die, Uncle killed Father, and then this motherfucker transform in time? Oh, I want to see some shit like that. But I don't know. It's a weird thing, but Yashiro as a main character, I'm trying to figure out exactly why that is. I mean, yes, he has the most comical life, and he does do a lot of stuff, and he's just a laid-back kind of dude. But the thing that really upsets me is, of course, one thing. Just one thing. He doesn't really do anything badass. He isn't really a badass character. And even though he isn't like that, I still like him as a character. Even though he isn't like badass destroying shit all the time. No. He doesn't transform into mountains. Dude can't even transform into like a fucking like, giant-ass animal. I've only seen him transform into like a couple different transformations that are all human size. I mean, his second oldest can transform into a fucking train. The youngest, I believe, has like electricity powers, and he can charge a phone with his fucking finger. He could, like, the oldest can turn into a giant-ass fucking tiger and shit. What can Yashiro do, though? He can only transform into, like, humans and others. We've seen, of course, at the Friday Fellow, like, banquet that wasn't actually with Hot Pot on the fucking meal when he was meeting the professor and all them for Ben 10, otherwise he'd be killed. The thing was, he did transform into other stuff, but I mean, it wasn't really, like, very interesting stuff. I mean, we've seen him transform into, like, dolls, and I want to see this dude transform into something big and start wrecking fucking shop. I don't know, it's just, it's weird, but Yashiro is just one of those, he's like a character that's there, and since the story focuses around a character that's just there, it's kind of weird. I do like Yashiro, don't get me wrong. I do like his character, and he is pretty funny, and he's kind of weird sometimes. But, I mean, it's kind of just weird that he's, like the weakest. I mean, well, the youngest brother's obviously the weakest, but, I mean, he doesn't really transform into anything. I mean, he does transform into stuff, like I said before, but he doesn't, like, fight, really. I mean, it's weird, but I know this isn't like really a fighting series. It's more like comedy and, of course, fantasy, but still, I mean, it has a deep story plot to it. And I mean, I'm not giving up my, of course, initial feelings that, of course, Uncle, at the end of the day, might be boiled in the hot pot if they get everything right. In my opinion, I believe that it will most likely be like the youngest will go to the second oldest, and then he'll get him, tell him what's going on, and then he'll transform into a giant-ass train or some shit and help. Yeah, because if you watch a preview, it does look like that might be what's happening. Like, next week's episode, I'm not really... Well, I do know that the second oldest most likely will come out of the whole well. And then they're going to go and try and rescue the mom and the oldest. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So it is setting sort of up for the ending. And it did give us a lot of sort of series progression. Yeah, series progression is the best way to describe this episode. It was series progression. And this fucking uncle, bro, he needs to get what's coming to his ass soon. Motherfucking soon. Oh my god, can't wait for that shit. And the whole thing about Yashiro's connection with the Professor Y, I think that that's going to have something to play with this entire thing. I really do. I feel that it's going to have a very deeper connection to the entire story overall, especially the ending. Mostly the ending, because the ending's very soon. And so Smithers to the motherfucking R. I had to get this episode. This episode is gonna have to get. Let's see. I'm gonna have to get this episode. Yeah, this episode gets a 6 out of 10. And I'm using my new rating system, of course, and so 6 out of 10 is, it was okay overall, the episode, but it had its good moments in it that I really enjoyed. But overall, the episode was okay. Nothing really ground developing that we didn't really see. It was just more of a continuation of last week's episode, in a sense. It wasn't like, well, that's what it's supposed to be, but you get what I'm saying. It was more like a continuation of last week's episode. And not very much new development really happened. Because after last week when the bombshell fucking dropped, and I was right and the uncle actually did kill the father, then it basically just continued on showing where everybody was and capturing one more person and then setting up for the rescue attempt. And so with that being said, Smith's to my fucking art. It gets a 6 out of 10. It was an okay episode overall, but it had its good moments in it that I really enjoyed. And so, with that being said, Smith's to my fucking art. See you motherfuckers later. Peace the fuck out.